High FM, 101.9 megahertz of life.
South Africa is stepping up efforts to deal with undocumented migration, but a new question is emerging about who should pay when foreign nationals are deported or repatriated. The South African government wants countries, including Malawi, Nigeria, Ethiopia, to reimburse the costs associated with repatriating undocumented citizens. To discuss this policy, the cost, and what this could mean for South Africa's immigration system, we're joined by Adrian Roos, who's DA Home Affairs National Spokesperson. Adrian, a very good morning to you and welcome to High FM Morning Mayhem. Hope you are well.
Yeah, good morning and greeting to your listeners.
So it's great to chat to you. I'm fascinated by how this works. First of all, is this a common thing? Does this happen around the world?
What we're looking at in this case is the difference between a deportation and a repatriation. So typically a deportation is if an undocumented foreign national is caught in the country and it's determined that they didn't come here through through some sort of a forced means, and then they go through a deportation process.
Right.
And then a repatriation is when the government sends out a call to call persons
Yes.
that want to leave the country and facilitate that process, calls on the government to facilitate that process.
Right.
So in the recent uprisings, then, that is what happened. It was more of a repatriation process than a deportation process.
Right.
And then those governments agreed to pay the costs.
So, and in terms of South Africa, I mean, could the countries argue that, well, yes, they might have been here illegally, but they've really tried for the last, I don't know how many years, to become legal. The system is so broken that and so corrupt on many levels, or has been, that there was no way to make this legal, and therefore the South African government themselves hold some responsibility here.
Well, there's two sides. A lot of those that were repatriated weren't here illegally necessarily.
Oh.
They just feared for their lives. So you can be repatriated even though you are here legally on a tourist visa,
Okay,
etc.
that's good to know. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Sorry, what was the other part of the question?
So I guess the question is well, I mean, that is potentially the first part of it, is if someone was here legally and they were repatriated because they just feared for their lives, number one, and number two is they were here illegally, but and really had genuinely tried to legalize their status over a period, but because of the inefficiency and whatever else couldn't. Surely the South African government holds some responsibility in both those cases.
Yeah, look, I think for any of us that are fortunate enough to travel, you find that when you go to a country, you need to abide by their laws, and there is the rule of law.
Yes.
You need to first get the visa that you want to get before you travel.
Mm-hmm.
So you wouldn't say, I was in a country and it took too long to get my renewal, so I'm just going to stay.
Right.
You would have to leave, and that is the rule of the country. So each country has its own rules about visas and how you can get a visa. But at the end of the day, if you don't have one, then you need to leave the country. So it's there are some arguments that, one is waiting for a renewal, etc., and that did take a long time. I think we understand that the current minister inherited massive backlogs in these visa categories. But the bottom line is if you don't have the visa, you need to leave.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's great on paper, but if somebody has been here maybe legally for many years and have had kids here, it really does become quite complex. And I'm not suggesting anybody breaks the law, but the law also has to function. And if it doesn't, and we don't have borders. We haven't had great control of our borders. We haven't had a system that's worked. We know that the police have been part of complicit in this by some, and I'm not obviously not all, but taking bribes, arresting people, letting them go with a bribe. The whole system has been so poorly constructed and created with profiteering along the way that it certainly could be an argument that people from other countries really did become victims of a system. And of course there's the element that, well, it doesn't justify breaking the law. Of course it doesn't. But, there are many factors around this.
Yeah, I think there was a very exciting launch yesterday of the electronic travel authorization.
Right.
And this is really to now resolve this issue once and for all. And what that really does is to provide a digital platform to apply using one's biometrics.
Oh, that's amazing.
And then your information from your passport, and then using a combination of databases and artificial intelligence to verify that you are indeed who you say you are. And then issue the person with a visa. And we're talking about sort of within 8 minutes.
That's incredible. That's really
there was
amazing.
a person that wanted to invest and come and
Right.
open a business here.
Yes.
And they said they got their visa in 8 minutes for a year, a renewable business visa. So, what you're saying is absolutely being addressed
Right.
by the Minister of Home Affairs, Leon Schreiber.
Yes.
And I think it's something in the past, probably, the big issue really is with it's slipping my mind now, but it's the refugees and asylum seekers.
Yes.
So that is often where there's a big issue, and what was happening there in the past is that persons would apply for refugee status,
Right.
and then you are issued with an asylum permit, and that allows you to live and work in South Africa.
Right.
And the challenge there was that persons were then trying to renew,
Yes.
and then they were being shown away,
Right.
or not able to do so. And I think there you definitely have a situation where international law protects those persons, because there's a principle of non-refoulement.
Yes.
And basically, you're not allowed to send somebody back,
Right.
even if they didn't renew. So those persons were often waiting for up to 10 years to have their appeal heard. And this is where you had some of the issues. But in this case, it wasn't really the case.
Right.
A vast majority of the persons were either okay or waiting for some sort of a renewal.
Right.
But it hadn't expired, but they just wanted to go back.
Right. It's such a complex and difficult situation, especially when you zoom in and you look at the lives that have been impacted. And of course, it's not to say that there should be a free for all at all. We know that undocumented people in a country, legal people in a country, it's very hard to hold them accountable for crime. I mean, there's so many aspects, but it is good to hear that the visa situation and the applications and the system is being addressed. I mean, that really will be life-altering for many people wanting to come and visit South Africa, which is obviously something that we'd want to encourage. We've got such a beautiful country. We want that foreign revenue. We want foreign investment. So that is really, really exciting. Is it available? Is this new system available everywhere, or is it just being tested at the moment?
Yes, it was tested at the G20, and since that time, and it's interesting that there were 200,000 persons that successfully applied for visas in the pilot project.
Right.
And only, I think the number was 6,000. There were 6,000 attempted fraudulent applications. That's where somebody tried to use a fake document,
Right.
or to switch their photo and they were caught.
That's amazing.
But it shows you often that actually, if you look at the percentage, only about 3% of persons are really trying to come in illegally or fraudulently, and the other 97% are just trying to come in and visit this beautiful country and invest and create opportunities. So So we really are. It's a paradigm shift, that system, and the biggest thing that it does is that the adjudication is automated. So you used to have paper, and then some official would now get the paper and they could sit on it and they could extort you.
Exactly.
So throughout the system, and this is why it's, when Minister Schreiber came in, it was to say we need to digitize, and there was criticism to say, why do you spend money on IT systems when you should spend it on front offices? But this is the reason. It's to minimize the opportunity for corrupt officials and to be able to intercept these processes. And this is also happening now with the refugees and asylum seekers. So that is also being digitized. And those cases and the appeals are being heard much quicker. So the backlog for the first time in many years is actually being reduced.
That is brilliant. We do need to leave
and
it there.
And it's all about...
Yeah.
Yes,
sorry, carry. No. Just finish your sentence, rather. It's all about...
No, it's all about really the rule of law. And as you say, persons need a fair opportunity to be able to have their applications fairly assessed without some sort of corrupt interference. And that is the brave new world that we're going into now. Yeah.
Absolutely fantastic, and well done to the DA, to the Minister, for introducing that. Adrian Roos, spokesperson, the DA spokesperson from Home Affairs.